Loma still has a good chance. However, the Loma it's going to take to be able to do that to Devin Haney, Loma is going to need to be the Gary Russell Jr. victory Loma. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think of that. As far as the professional boxers go, it's not always a pandering thing. It's not always just showing that you know how to follow the directions and say the right things to get in with networks and bending over and, cooning and all that stuff. That's not always the case. They understand the boxing game, and they understand that the fight between Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko is not going to be as easy as they're trying to pan it out to be. And that's why I love talking about all the other shit, all the bias, all the racism and stuff. And once you get all that stuff out in the open and you figure out where everybody sit, what's going on and how people think, now you can talk about boxing. And the truth of the matter is the fight is much more closer and tougher than what they want to portray it. Okay? This fight is going to be won on the back end. This fight won't start till after the 6th round. And that's usually when Loma is favored. You know what I'm saying? And he's primed up, So the later rounds actually favor Lomachenko. That's when he's going to get busy. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a slow starter. The front half of the fight, it should be all Devin Haney. No problem. But the back end, when he starts to slow down, when he starts to fatigue, when Loma starts to warm up, that's the part that people don't think that Devin Haney can make it through. And they're right about that. They are. The fight is very close. Like I said, this is a very, very good fight for boxing. That's why I can't understand all these side comments and side complaints and this and that. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be great for the sport. If it's great for the sport, well, if I like boxing, you like boxing, isn't this a win-win overall? So that's why I don't get why this fight should be celebrated way more than what it is. It should be promoted way more than what it is. This is the time for the sweet science to take front and center of all the hoopla, all the YouTubing, all the Jake Pauling, all the drama, all of this, all the blase split. This is the time for the sweet science to sit in the front seat and say, this is what this sport is about. That's what time it is. But they do that because they understand, regardless of how people want to talk about the fight and talk about Devin Haney's size, it is still a fight. Okay? And this is the thing. It's not like beating Lomachenko is some mythical thing that's hard to do. It's actually not. It's simple in strategy, but, difficult in execution. This is the holy trinity to beating Vasily Lomachenko. Okay? You have to, 1, keep him off balance, keep a jab in his face. Never let him set, cut off his angles, and do not allow him to get into a rhythm. You keep all those things in mind, you got Loma. Loma needs to set up. Loma don't like punching and working off the fly. Loma needs to set everything up. Okay? You keep that jab in his face, you keep him off balance. He won't do anything because he don't do anything without setting it up. Okay? You cut off his angles, he becomes a normal guy. And you don't let him get momentum. You don't let him get into a flow state. And that's usually what he get into in those later rounds. That's really when he starts to get crafty and put those combinations together. But he needs to get into a rhythm. But if you keep that jab in his face and keep him off balance, he'll never get into a rhythm because he'll never be able to set up for it. And therefore, you'll keep him in a froze state because everything has to be set up with Loma. Okay? He's very methodical and mechanical with that side of the fight game with him. Okay? You do those things, you got Loma. Like I said, simple in strategy, hard in execution. You know what I'm saying? Although Devin Haney's execution is a lot more easier to carry out than what Loma is going to be. Loma, what he got to do to beat Devin Haney, he got to take away his jab. You got to use his angles and take advantage of him in close quarters and in the clinches. And Devin Haney don't take his head off line, and his footwork isn't all that. Those are all things that Loma can do well. But like I said, it's going to be hard because first you're going to have to take away that jab. And that's a risk, and you're going to get touched up for it. Now, however, on the other end, as far as punching power and stuff like that, this is one thing that people don't say about Loma because I don't think that they notice. For Loma's size and frame, Loma actually hits pretty hard for his size. You know what I'm saying? If you pay attention, Loma actually got a little bit of crack to him. He do. He's not a soft puncher as I originally thought once I really started paying attention to him. Loma actually carries some power. He does. You know? And he's fast and he's a volume puncher. You know what I'm saying? Good in close quarters. You know, crafty. Catch Devin Haney. It'll be a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be harder for him to execute than Devin Haney, but you know, Loma still has a good chance. However, the Loma it's going to take to be able to do that to Devin Haney, Loma is going to need to be the Gary Russell Jr. victory Loma. Okay? He's going to need to have that same youth, enthusiasm, speed, springiness, you know, intent. That version of Lomachenko is going to give Devin Haney some problems as they get into the later rounds. That's the version he needs to bring to topple Devin Haney. Like I said, it's a tall order, you know, but that's what's so interesting about this fight. You know what I'm saying? You really can't put your hand on it, you know? But anyways, when they say that, that's just because, you know, they're aware of the fight game and, you know, they are aware of all the elements that's in the fight game. So it's not them so much, you know, shitting on Devin Haney or something like that. You know, they just really know the fight game. And you got to understand, Devin Haney being the youngest undisputed champion ever, man, a lot of people are in their feelings that shouldn't be in their feelings, that have no business being in their feelings. And it's, you know, I don't know, man. Our older generation got some haterade in them that I ain't never seen before, man. You know, and I hate to say it, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? So it's no doubt that a lot of them are sour on that end because the kid's gonna go in the history books whether people like it or not. You know, the only lighter weight champion since Pernell Whitaker. Just think about that, how great that sounds. You know what I'm saying? You got Pernell Whitaker, then Devin Haney. Pernell Whitaker, and then your name. That's a hell of an accolade.